everyone. Today I'm going to talk about my predictions, astrological predictions for the week of March 4th. Let's quickly first recap predictions and what had happened last week. So for the week of February 25th, as far as the market moves, my predictions were the two strong predictions for up Monday and Wednesday, and then just 55% probability, chance of Tuesday and Thursday going up, and again 55% probability of March 1st, Friday going down. So out of those, the Monday predictions was correct. There was a strong up move in the markets, and on the Wednesday and the strong prediction of up, there was sort of a mixed bag there where I believe, we had Nasdaq and went up, and Dow Jones went down, but the moves weren't very significant. And for the remaining 3 days where I wasn't, giving a very strong prediction one direction or another, the predictions were technically incorrect as far as the overall move direction of the moves. That said, I wasn't, very confident in the direction in the first place. I'm somewhat disappointed that on Wednesday there was no stronger up move in the markets, however. So as far as the actual predictions, as far as events, for Monday the 25th, I had expected that there would be some news regarding the communication transportation businesses in the US, and there may be some also announcements by, I thought it would be more like a leader in some sort of military or sports arena, may potentially come up with an announcement on the social media that may be divisive or controversial of some sort, controversial for some reason. And what we actually had, interestingly, apparently there was a tweet by Elon Musk made on the 19th of February, which I haven't seen. But on the February 25th, there was basically an issue where the Securities and Exchange Commission had asked, basically, they asked the federal judge to hold Elon Musk in contempt over that tweet. So we have, sort of a, partial prediction coming true as far as there being a controversial social media post, although it was not by a military leader or somebody from, say, sports domain, but that the person was related to, obviously communication and transportation businesses. So we did have some additional news there. As far as another prediction I had for Monday, that we will hear additional news or increased news about, say, sugar. Again, I wasn't specifically following up sugar. I'm not related to anything related to sugar, but I'm just rather skimming the headlines for news. I did see there was a news about the public spat between the Bud Light maker AB InBev and the Miller Coors use of corn syrup in their beers. So even though it wasn't necessarily directed to sugar per se, but it was related to sweet sort of substances, and there was news, I guess, about that on Monday, or even the prior day, about there basically being a disagreement of whether or not, one is portraying the other in a negative light. So let's see, there was also, basically, let's see, I was also predicting for Monday, the 25th in particular, that there will be some news about potentially a woman, an important woman, or a businesswoman or politician making, again, some announcements as well, or becoming kind of somehow known or prominent in the public eye. And there was news about Yellen and her criticizing Trump, and my prediction was that the person who will be making statements, they themselves may be perceived negatively because they will be perceived as potentially not well versed in the matters of safety, securities, and financial security, or say food supply security, or whatever kind of security you can think of, and or they're being basically rigid, and or not really, again, being very, I suppose, well knowledgeable, and again, especially in the areas of, say, security, And in this case, we had a woman who is, again, obviously a prominent businesswoman, is criticizing somebody, Trump, like another prominent person. However, it was her criticizing Trump and basically saying that he himself is not very well versed in the matters of macroeconomic policy. So that was an interesting twist, I thought. And there was, again, prediction about the continuing continuing negotiations or contracts, but not necessarily a resolution or final decision on any of that. And there was obviously news that had helped markets kind of rally on Monday. Trump had basically announced that he would delay additional tariffs for China, and that's again, I would say, fits with the manifestation of the aspects that the negotiations are proceeding well. However, there is no resolution quite yet because, again, there was no pressure to arrive at a resolution. So there was also a prediction that I made for the February 28th or 1st of March about the increased news about some aerospace, telecoms, IT, electronics, like electric cars, smartphones, electric gadgets, batteries, those kind of businesses or products. And there was indeed the news by Tesla that they launched the shorter range Model 3 at a reduced price, relatively speaking, compared to their other cars of $35,000. And there was also news that they're switching to basically making all of their sales online, and their stores will turn into galleries for, I guess, customers to just kind of learn about Tesla. And let's see, then there was also a prediction for the Wednesday, February 27th, that there will be, or actually rather it was for the whole week, but specifically for that day, I guess, was the max sort of influence, that there will be increased focus on oil, gas, like chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and things of that nature. And as well as, I guess on Monday, like I said, for Monday, the 25th, there was prediction about, say, prominent women being featured in the news, as in like business women, politician. And curiously, on Wednesday, on the 27th, we did have news about Martha Stewart, of all people, partnering with Canadian corporation Canopy Growth to develop some new products that are based on the non-psychoactive CBD and other hemp-derived cannabinoids. So, well, we had new expectations of news about women kind of being more prominent on Monday, but I guess Wednesday is close enough, in my personal opinion. And there was indeed increased news. This is one example, and there are also other news about kind of pharmaceutical companies in particular. In particular, really on Monday there was a surge in kind of stocks of various gene therapy companies. Some of them went up as high as 30%, I believe. Unicure had that happen to them. And it is interesting, I'm just reading headlines from Market Watch. Basically they're saying, or the article rather says, that it's the expectations, I guess, by investors were that there may be more news about the mergers and acquisitions in that arena, which is, you know, partially why these gene editing companies, their stocks went up. And there was also, I guess, last year, there was some news about Novartis and VS agreeing last year to pay $8.7 billion for the gene therapy company AVXIS. Again, never heard of that, but I'm sure it's an important company somewhere. But the reason I'm mentioning that is that for this week, for the week of March 4th, I do see that there will be continuing sort of trend of really, not trend, but rather continuing sort of influence and focus on things related to chemicals, navy, pharmaceuticals, drugs, poisons, pollutions, water, you know, things of that nature, weather, wet weather, or overabundance of water, you know, potentially leading to flooding and things like that. Religion as well, music and video as well. Which, interestingly, the Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart Snoop Dogg were actually working together, and he obviously is a musician. So for this week of March 4th, I do actually think that that it's possible that we may hear more specifically about the mergers and acquisitions of various companies, again, in the pharmaceutical sort of arena. And if it is, you know, if the gene editing, you know, is the hot topic these days, it could be that. I have no astrological or any other really way of knowing whether or not this is going to be the topic. However, you know, if this is the trend, it may definitely spike this week, as well as any other businesses that relate to, again, the areas I just mentioned, such as chemicals, oils, pharmaceuticals in general. They will definitely be featured more prominently in the news, or there will be some decisions made about these areas, you know, as far as it may be production of oil or shipments of oil, or, you know, production of shipments or distribution or use of chemicals. Is something allowed? There definitely is a possibility of there being news about new leader, new projects, or some sort of a new, you know, innovative approach to dealing with some of these topics. And again, this could involve mergers of the companies, or could involve just kind of, you know, having like announcement of some really cool new movie that is, or a lot of you know, pharmaceuticals that again specifically focus on things that either are waterborne, or deliveries via some sort of a like spray or something that dissolves in the water, and or again mind-altering type substances, or substances that, you know, rather drugs that help with addictions, or basically transform things into, you know, if you think about like alchemy, transform something into something completely different. So those might be the topic. So what I'm saying is that there could be, for example, drugs that maybe they fix, not drugs, but maybe even pharmaceutical, you know, either some medications that, for example, are used to stop inflammation. So that would not be it. It would be something that has to do again with sort of either mind altering, could be gene altering, just because it alters sort of the nature, I guess, of what something is. So that could be potentially, you know, fall under this influence. So this will be prominent all week, and particularly Tuesday and Wednesday. Then other influences that are ongoing for the week is, again, my prediction was for February that Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the U.S. Supreme Court Justice, will step down. I haven't heard any news on that, but she has been, I guess, MIA as far as as far as I know, for many weeks now. And if she's still basically in office, or she's still, you know, employed, etc., the next big kind of a tough time for her, unfortunately, would be May-June 2019, where we may actually hear again about her having a hard time, you know, being just with in terms of her health, or maybe really being super busy at work, and maybe she may need to step down just because it may be hard for her to handle the volume sort of work at that point in her life. Again, it could be that she's just going to be working super hard. That could be, I guess, the best case scenario for her. And so for again, additional ongoing predictions for US, one that is kind of sort of less prominent this week, but the focus on military activities, weapons, and sports and military related issues. And the one that actually is the most prominent kind of this week, and it will be, again, as I said, focus on oil. So that was, in general, there will be focus on oil kind of globally, oil, gas, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, but also for US it will be very prominent as well. And again, we're talking about poisons, wet weather, floods, water erosion, healthcare, religion, lies, deception, movie and video industries, and you know, things of that nature. And there may be, again, news about businesses that have either contracted or expanded rather too quickly overseas, and now they need to contract, or maybe they have opened again too many offices, and again, most likely internationally, and now they need to rethink that, or at this time they may be feeling kind of super adventurous and kind of opening a lot of these offices, but that may, or locations, or overextending themselves, that might in the future be reversed. And so this influence was already in effect from February 22nd, and it will be in effect through about the 17th of March, but it will be the strongest this week again for the US. And that's coupled with, again, strong focus on oil, gas, etc. Internationally, I think there definitely may be some important news coming from those domains. So as far as the individual days, for Monday the 4th, I predict about 55% probability of market going up. And for China, there is increased probability of news about some sort of a taking a tougher or more rigid stance on negotiations with international partners. They may be pushing for increased controls, discipline, to kind of be more conservative or kind of unyielding and focus on reducing losses than, you know, being kind of reducing losses, again, that may be inquired because of the partnership agreements, something that's unfavorable. So the focus will be on kind of cutting the losses rather than necessarily expanding, preserving the status quo or cutting losses. So kind of slow and cautious, rigid approach. Then on Tuesday and Wednesday, the 5th and 6th of March, I expect there to be fairly large moves in the markets, especially on the 6th, Wednesday, and there may be most likely a big sort of either a V-shaped drop or a really kind of a 2 days of really big moves. And I think the V drop kind of is the most likely, so kind of up on Monday, down on Tuesday, and then reversal to either up to either on Wednesday or Thursday. So I'm not sure if both days, Tuesday and Wednesday, will be down, or it will be a big down, say on Tuesday, up on Wednesday, or vice versa. So either, like I said, most likely scenario up on Monday, down on Tuesday, reversal to up on Wednesday. But it's also possible that there will be a down on both Tuesday and Wednesday, and reversal will come on Thursday. So either way, there will be definitely some major news, again, most likely in the area of like chemicals, new like lies, somebody deceives somebody, or some, you know, chemicals, pharmaceuticals, oil, drugs, and things of that nature. And so the moves in the market could be associated with that. There may also be really increased uncertainty, and it could be, you know, negotiations with China or any other sort of uncertainty where investors are not sure what is going to happen next, and that may result in a really big market drop. And again, the strongest probability of that is Tuesday and or Wednesday. So I guess Monday looks okay, then Tuesday, Wednesday, it will either be drop both days or potentially drop on one day, you know, Tuesday coming back up on Wednesday, or drop on both Tuesday, Wednesday coming back up on Thursday. And on Wednesday for China, there's also, which is why I guess Wednesday will be a really potentially a strong down day, is on for China, March 6th through the 8th, especially the 7th, there's a probability of increased tensions with partners and kind of, again, negotiations taking really sort of a turn, I wouldn't say for the worse, but kind of becoming more stressful perhaps. However, on the positive side, that may also necessitate that pressure may result in some sort of actual result, whether one, you know, company or a company partner says, okay, we definitely are not going to do this, and there's a refusal to do something, and there's a disagreement. However, it is clear what the disagreement is about, and or there is actual agreement and approval of something and the contract is signed, but at least there's clarity and resolution. And particularly the areas where there may be additional news, again, for China, it would be potentially, in addition to these contracts and negotiations with partners, could be military and or aggressive activities, aggressive communications, accidents involving transportation or communication devices, and there will be kind of a push to kind of show strength in general. I guess, again, taking maybe a tougher stance in the negotiations could be one of them, or could be some showing strength through like some, you know, flexing the military muscle as well. And there may also be news for China that, you know, they're gaining from some project somewhere, and those projects may not necessarily align with the partners want, but they would align nicely with the country's goals for itself. So again, the focus will be sort of on the country itself and the benefits that it wants to reap, and it may potentially be done despite disagreements with the partners. At the same time, there may be increased pressure on China from the partners. Again, that's from March 6th through 7th. There might be additional pressure and or kind of heightened tensions in negotiations. However, again, like I said, that may actually result in some agreements being reached, or even if there are disagreements, things will be clear as far as, okay, so what are the next steps? Which is why the market may possibly go up the following day, March the 7th, where this influence for China is the strongest, because it is the uncertainty that may potentially bring market down either Tuesday, Wednesday, or both. But then when things are clear, even if it's, like I said, a negative resolution, on Thursday, market will most likely go up because the clarity has been reached. And at the same time, there may be news about something being put on hold. By something, I mean some contracts or some negotiations. So it could be in the areas, again, related to like chemicals, as well as pharmaceuticals, but also transportation and communication businesses. And there may be news that, again, contracts need to be reevaluated, things are put on hold, existing terms need to be reevaluated, or even one of the partners may break sort of the communication or break the negotiations, at least temporarily. Additionally, there will be on Thursday focus on the news about on the safety and security of women, children, food supply, and or real estate. So and or it could be either transportation of, say, women and children, maybe to save them from somewhere, move them, from one place to another, or move food, again, to protect food, or the movement of food is stopped because it's not safe, you know what I mean? Like they found GMO somewhere and therefore it's, the sales are suspended. And or there may be additional news about communication and statements made by women. So something focused on security and safety, and again, protecting those who are, I guess, considered to be weaker, and or kind of protecting the assets. So that's Thursday. And on Friday, I believe, again, there's about 60% of probability of market going up. And in the US, there's a greater than usual probability of good news for businesses that relate to IT, high tech, telecoms, electric cars, aerospace, technological innovations, various gadgets. So we may actually hear about some increased profits in those areas, and or some progress in some innovation, kind of making some interesting discoveries, or introducing a product that has really pleasing design, or some products becoming more popular than expected, like phones, for example, or some electric cars. So Friday looks like a kind of a cheerier, happier day, where the markets may actually go up because there is an underlying reason. But Tuesday and Wednesday most likely will be strong down days because, again, of either some uncertainty or some actual problems that relate, again, to either oil, chemical, pharmaceutical industry, or some problems with negotiations potentially with China, but more have to do with, again, confusion about that. And then on Thursday, market will most likely go up, and that could be, again, because some clarity is reached, some things kind of have been either finalized, again, even if there's a disagreement, things might just be clarified, and that may be good enough for the market to kind of spur things to go up. So I hope it wasn't too confusing. I was kind of jumping a little bit from place to place. However, I do have things written out on my blog, tolstunka.com, and I have posted that predictions the day before, so certainly you're welcome to also visit me there and go back and review and read things and follow along as the week progresses. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you back soon. Okay, bye everyone.